The woke movement has transformed activism, being driven by the power of pixels and social media, championing inclusivity and enabling accountability at lightning speed. But, ironically, it is the same movement that excludes anyone that holds a differing opinion, effectively silencing the very voices it sought out to empower. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Dakota Hanna. I'm a junior, and for this year's TEDxYouth at JIS event, I will be speaking on the topic of the woke movement, or more specifically, if choosing to be woke is a free choice or a constrained one, in coordination with this year's theme of the paradox of choice. As of 2024, activism has undergone a striking transformation due to the woke movement. Unlike past grassroots movements, efforts exemplified by Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech, today's activism is driven by digital platforms that amplify voices and illuminate inequalities. Movements like Black Lives Matter harness the power of pixels and social media, enabling swift accountability and awareness at the speed of light. However, while this digital shift has empowered many voices and catalyzed important movements, it unfortunately also still raises some concerns. The concept of being woke, or being aware of social inequalities such as racial injustices, sexism, racism, and the denial of LGBTQIA+ rights, can unfortunately sometimes feel more like a trap, where the pressure to conform amidst overwhelming choices can hinder genuine engagement and lead to mental exhaustion. In navigating this difficult landscape, we must ask, are we truly free to express our beliefs, or are we constrained by the very movements that aim to liberate us? But firstly, to clarify, I am most certainly of the perspective that the woke movement has been beneficial towards societies globally, propelling activism among us and leading us to respond faster than ever when historically presented with issues. However, this rapid evolution of activism still brings on its own set of challenges. As a result of the woke movement, citizens globally have been overwhelmed as a result of information overload, leading to decision paralysis, where individuals avoid making any choice at all out of fear of incorrectly choosing. Although this doesn't seem impactful at first glance, anxious feelings are a common outcome as a result of this decision paralysis, provided many now are compelled to conform rather than express their authentic beliefs out of fear of being criticized for their own views. This, unfortunately, exacerbates the action of performative wokeness, or actions individuals take to engage in social justice activities primarily to appear virtuous, in comparison to feeling genuine engagement to the cause because of such a pressure to conform. A little bit about me is that I grew up in an unusual household, to say the least. Both my mother and father grew up in extreme poverty, working against all odds to become the successful role models that they are today, constantly encouraging me to be grateful for all that I have, helping carve the person I am today, teaching me to be an open and accepting person who is empathetic. This personality led the COVID-19 pandemic to be particularly monumental for me. So, when on the 25th of May in 2020, when Minnesota Police Department officer Derek Chauvin killed a black man named George Floyd after kneeling on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, sparking a months-long wave of nationwide protests against related injustices against Black Americans, I was dismayed. My mother is Indonesian, from Sulawesi to be specific, and my father is from the US, North Dakota to be specific. However, all my life, I have grown up abroad, causing me, if I'm being completely honest, previous to the pandemic's opportunity to bring the movement to my attention, to be completely unaware of the still present racial injustices in American society today. So, when 12-year-old me, who was under lockdown with online school and too many hours to spend scrolling on TikTok and social media, came across the movement, I was bewildered, to say the least. From constant algorithm appearances of hashtags such as defund the police, or seeing at the time my favorite creator, Charli D'Amelio, posting for Blackout Tuesday, I felt empowered and responsible to use my voice to speak out against the injustices that I was clearly blind to. But I also felt extremely pressured. which I only realize now. I immediately resonated and felt deeply because of the issue, picking out arguments with my family members or anyone that had a differing stance, without even really first educating myself on the history of the movement and the permanence of the issue, which stretches back to slavery, segregation, and civil rights struggles. I even went so far as to preach ACAB, or all cops are bastards, not even considering or being aware of the fact that my father used to work as a corrections officer, or considering that the core idea behind the movement is about reallocating funds and that the system is the issue. My point is that this is the true issue with the woke movement. Because of its modernity, it appeals to young individuals, such as myself, who are honestly very impressionable, becoming monumental in crucial moments such as when political expression is necessary, such as during times of elections. But it is extremely questionable considering this form of activism restricts critical thinking and individuality, causing many, including myself, to blatantly believe what is said. This is its trap. Instead of learning about its issues, about an issue and its complexities, we sometimes just accept what we're told and repost what is trending. Therefore, in 2020, I too fell for this trap, treating anyone with a differing opinion terribly, regardless of which stance was arguably more socially acceptable, verifying the fact that the woke movement excludes anyone who doesn't share the same opinion, becoming ironic and completely contradictory to its entire goal of inclusivity. Whether regarding Palestine or Ukraine, many people now feel okay or morally justified to have done something about an issue simply because they've reposted a picture on their Instagram story or reacted to a couple of TikToks with watermelon emojis. Media now is more globally accessible than ever before, becoming revolutionary and so inspiringly hopeful for future generations and ideas of how they will be able to harness and utilize this expanse of information. But it is so incredibly condensed and difficult to navigate. Because of lucrative algorithms on social media apps, people now only see and hear what they want to see and hear, making their oftentimes uneducated stance even more dangerous, considering the little education that they did receive may not have even originated from a neutral perspective in the first place. This begs the question, are we truly qualified to speak on an issue if we don't understand its depths? And in a world where action is needed, is simply reposting a picture enough to create real change? As students of a prestigious international school in Jakarta, we occupy a position of incredible privilege with access to exceptional resources, opportunities, and platforms that many around the world can only dream of. We have the power to influence, to lead, and to make real change. But with great power comes great responsibility. So let's rise to the occasion. Rather than engaging in microactivism, which oftentimes feels more performative than meaningful, let's take a few steps back and engage issues with intention and thoughtfulness. Here are some steps that you can consider taking. Firstly, you can educate yourself on the history of an issue. Understand the roots, the contexts, and the complexities that shape it. Second, you can turn to a reliable and neutral media source. Tools like the Ad Fontes Media Bias Chart can help you evaluate the range of perspectives out there and guide you towards a source that will provide you with a balanced and informed view of an issue. Especially in a world where so many voices demand our attention. Take a moment to ask yourself, how do you feel? What is it that you believe? If you feel compelled to act, then act, but do so because you've taken the time to understand, because you believe, and because you want to. And if you don't feel moved to act, that's okay too. What's most important is that you respect the rights of others to hold a differing opinion. True activism isn't about conforming or pressuring others into agreeing with you. It's about authentic belief, informed action, and respect for diversity of thought. Think back to moments in your life, whether on the playground, in the classroom, or even online, where you were pressured to act a certain way, to think a certain way, or to say a certain thing, just because it was what everyone else was doing. Now, ask yourself, will you perpetuate that pressure, or will you choose to create an environment where individuals can think and speak freely? I'll repeat it. As of 2024, activism has undergone a striking transformation due to the woke movement. Unlike past grassroots movement efforts exemplified by Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech, today's activism is driven by digital platforms that amplify voices and illuminate inequalities. Movements like Black Lives Matter harness the power of pixels and social media, enabling accountability at the speed of light. But this woke movement is the same one that champions inclusivity, is the very same movement that excludes anyone that holds a differing opinion, effectively silencing the very voices it sought out to empower. So let's choose to be different. What do you say? Let's take ownership of our beliefs and stand for what we truly think is right. We don't do things because it's of external pressure or because it's the latest trend, but because we've taken the time to reflect, to learn, and to act from a place of understanding. As Mahatma Gandhi famously said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world. Feel what you feel, but do so with conviction. Choose your path not because it's what others expect of you, but because it is a path that you have chosen for yourself." Truly, thank you all so much for listening.